Have you ever noticed that some people feel responsible for everyone around them? They feel responsible when someone is upset. They feel responsible when someone is struggling. They feel responsible when someone else is disappointed. Sometimes they even feel responsible for things that were completely outside their control. If someone they care about is having a bad day, they feel like they should fix it. If someone around them seems unhappy, they feel like they must have done something wrong. And even when no one directly blames them, they still carry the weight of trying to make everything better. If you've ever felt this way, you might have asked yourself a quiet question. Why do I feel responsible for everyone? Why do other people seem able to step back while I feel like I have to hold everything together? The answer to that question usually begins much earlier in life than most people realize. Because the feeling of emotional responsibility is rarely something a person simply chooses. It is usually something they learned. In many families, children grow up simply being children. But in some environments, something different happens. The child slowly becomes the emotional caretaker. They begin noticing when someone is upset. They notice when tension enters the room. They notice when someone's mood changes. And because children naturally want safety and stability, they start trying to manage those emotions. Maybe they try to cheer someone up. Maybe they try to calm an argument. Maybe they try to behave perfectly so no one gets angry. Over time, the child learns something powerful. They learn that their behavior seems to influence how others feel. And slowly, a belief begins forming in the background of their mind. If someone is upset, maybe it's my job to fix it. That belief can follow someone quietly into adulthood. Many people who feel responsible for everyone were once the peacekeeper in their family. The peacekeeper is the person who tries to prevent conflict. They try to smooth things over. They try to calm situations before they escalate. Sometimes they become the one who listens to everyone's problems. Sometimes they become the one who absorbs everyone's emotions. If you've spent most of your life feeling responsible for everyone around you, there's a good chance you were once the person who kept the peace in your family, the one who tried to calm arguments, the one who tried to make everyone feel okay again. And when a child grows up in that role, the brain quietly learns something powerful. If something feels wrong, it must be my job to fix it. Sometimes they become the person everyone relies on when things feel difficult. At first, this role may even feel rewarding. Helping others can create a sense of purpose, but over time, it can become exhausting. Because when someone feels responsible for everyone, they rarely give themselves permission to rest. They are always scanning the room, always checking how others feel, always wondering if something needs to be fixed. People who carry emotional responsibility often become extremely sensitive to other people's feelings. They notice subtle changes in tone. They notice facial expressions. They notice when someone seems distant or quiet. Their brain becomes very good at reading emotional signals. But sometimes this sensitivity can become overwhelming because it can feel like being responsible for emotions that were never theirs to carry. If someone is frustrated, they feel they should calm them down. If someone is sad, they feel they should comfort them. If someone is angry, they feel they should make it better. Eventually, this pattern can create a deep sense of pressure, a quiet voice that says, if something goes wrong, I should be able to fix it. For many people, being responsible for others becomes part of how they see themselves. They become the helper, the listener, the fixer, the strong one. People may even begin expecting them to carry this role. Friends come to them with problems. Family members rely on them during difficult times. And slowly, their identity becomes tied to supporting everyone else. But there is an important truth that many people in this position never hear. Being supportive does not mean being responsible for everyone. Helping someone is very different from carrying their emotional weight. And when those two things become blurred, the burden can become extremely heavy. One of the hardest parts of breaking this pattern is guilt. When someone who feels responsible for everyone tries to step back, they often feel like they are abandoning people. They may think, if I don't help, who will? If I step back, will they struggle? Am I being selfish? But healthy boundaries are not abandonment. They are simply recognizing where your responsibility ends. You can care deeply about people without carrying every problem they face. You can support someone without sacrificing your own emotional well-being. And learning that difference can be incredibly freeing. There is also a biological side to this pattern. When someone grows up in an environment where emotions were unpredictable, their nervous system becomes highly alert. Their brain learns to scan constantly for signs of tension. It becomes a form of emotional radar. This heightened awareness can help someone anticipate problems, but it can also create a constant sense of responsibility. Because if your brain is always watching for emotional shifts, it may feel like your job to respond to them. And over time, this response becomes automatic. People who feel responsible for everyone are often incredibly compassionate. They care deeply about others. They want to help. They want to ease suffering. These qualities are not weaknesses. They are strengths. But compassion does not have to come at the expense of your own well-being. Healthy compassion includes yourself. It recognizes that your emotional energy is not unlimited, and it allows you to care for others while also protecting your own peace. Changing this pattern begins with awareness. Noticing when you feel responsible for something that is not yours to carry. Recognizing that someone else's emotions belong to them. Supporting them if you choose to, but not absorbing their entire experience. Over time, this awareness creates space. Many people who feel responsible for everyone have carried that role for so long that it begins to feel like part of their identity. But responsibility for other people's emotions was never something you were meant to carry alone. Caring about people is healthy. Feeling responsible for everyone's happiness is something you likely learned when you were much younger. Sometimes you need space to breathe, space to step back, space to exist without constantly monitoring everything around you. And many people find that when they stop carrying everyone else's emotions, something surprising happens. Their own life begins to feel lighter. If you have spent much of your life feeling responsible for everyone, it's important to understand something. That role likely developed for a reason. It may have helped you navigate difficult situations. It may have helped maintain peace. It may have helped people around you feel supported, but you were never meant to carry the emotional weight of the entire world. You are allowed to care about people without fixing everything. You are allowed to support others without sacrificing yourself. And you are allowed to step back from responsibilities that were never truly yours. If this video resonated with you, the next video in this series explores why many people struggle to say no. Because for people who feel responsible for everyone, saying no can feel incredibly difficult. But learning that skill can change everything.